Have you ever wondered what the shortest war in history was? Well, it turns out that this one lasted less than an hour, and you probably haven't heard of it. Why does any of this matter? Well, I'm glad you asked. When did this take place? August 27, 1896. Where did it happen? Zanzibar. Who was involved? The Zanzibar Sultanate and the British Empire. And why did they fight? Well, that's where things get interesting. This conflict may have only lasted between 38 and 45 minutes, but it was a pivotal moment in world history. Well, the British obviously won, decisively ending the Sultanate's reign and installing a puppet sultan who aligned with British interests. Some locals didn't even realize that a war had taken place until it was over. Talk about a hidden piece of history. Not only was it the shortest war ever recorded, it was one of the most decisive, and it led to massive changes in world geopolitics. So let us go back in time to 1896 to the tiny island of Zanzibar, off the coast of East Africa. Now, part of Tanzania, the British were fighting the Anglo-Zanzibar War. But when he died in August of 1896, his successor, Sultan Khalid bin Bargash, took power without telling the British. The situation became increasingly complicated because Britain perceived the ascension of the new sultan as a direct violation of established protocols and traditions, rendering his rule completely unlawful in their eyes. They gave him an ultimatum to step down by 9 a.m. the following day, or else face the consequences. They made a promise and, unlike most, they actually meant it. When the moment arrived, they acted without delay. You can almost see where this is going. Right. What followed was as intense as it was inevitable. What's the deal with the British jumping into a war over Zanzibar? Anyway, at exactly 9:02 a.m., British warships began bombarding the palace with over 200 shells. The palace was destroyed within minutes, and the royal family and their guards were either killed or captured. Sultan Khalid managed to escape, however, fleeing to the German consulate and avoiding capture. But before we dive into the action, let's get some essential details out of the way. The Sultan of Zanzibar, Sultan Hamad bin Thuwaini, was a pro-British ruler who shaped this island nation. When Khalid refused and instead barricaded himself inside the palace with his armed forces, the British gave the order to attack. The war wrapped up quickly, but wow, Zanzibar really paid a heavy price, right? It faced heavy losses during that brief conflict. So who won this ridiculously short war, and what was the outcome? Did you know this war was shorter than your average sitcom episode? It totally flipped the leadership in Zanzibar. How wild is that? Now that you know, hit that subscribe button.